On a quiet, peaceful day, people are walking. Suddenly, the ground starts violently shaking like an earthquake, scaring the life out of everyone. The next second, everything's back to normal, leaving the women puzzled. Again, the earthquake continues. What was that sound? She then looks at the guard for the answers. The guard tells her it's nothing. Please be on your way. What do you mean nothing? Wasn't that earthquake? Turns out it was young Master Yoo Hyun talking a walk. What nonsense is that? Once again, the rumbling continuous, almost knocking her down. Her soul has finally left her body. So, the guard tells her to see for herself. She can't believe it. The body of this man is so large. His one step causes an earthquake. Out of breath, he falls down, causing a nuclear explosion. Yelling young master, the guard rushes towards him. Breathing heavily, he commands him to not come in. The guard turns back feeling embarrassed. Finally, he manages to get back on his feet, tearing his pants in the process. With determination, he vows to never give up. Mustering all his strength in one breath, he continues taking another step. One more time, he shouts who's gonna carry the boats and walks. Then, breathing heavily, he's about to fall once again. He is looking gassed, as the mosquito is about to get smashed. The fall results in an injured neck, and some painful injury to the head. Our main protagonist isn't having the best of times. Crying, he gets pissed at his current state. I mean, who wouldn't, right? As he lays on the ground, about to pass out from the blood loss, the guard rushes towards the young master. Still conscious, he doesn't give up. In tears, the guard wakes the young master up, since he had returned from the past to save Murim, which is about to fall into chaos by this deadly guy who managed to destroy everything and sit on top of the Iron Throne. I became an orphan as a result of all that chaos. Then, lived my life regretfully, as good for nothing. But one day I met my masters. I thought my life was finally about to change, but actually it turns out that fate had other plans for him. He was tied upside down for the sake of training, followed by some intense instructions, sometimes surrounded by snakes, or left in the middle of the ocean for weight training. From dodging sharp arrows, to training in the Himalayas and even in fire. Let's say the training program was not easy, but after not giving up for years, this was my real body. I had learned all martial arts from my masters, and with the help of my 5 masters, I was sent back in time, followed by a massive golden tornado, and like that I was sent back in time because of my master's plan. But when I opened my eyes, I woke up as giant sumo who could not even walk, let alone train. Yoo Hyun's father shouts at the physician to do something, but in spite of my physical condition, I wasn't going to give up. In the next instant, he split out a fountain of red ketchup. The coughing was really intense, making the physician smile with joy. The father grabs his collar. What did you do to my son? But he is still thinking about his martial arts training, and get that virgin ginseng before that villain. Meanwhile, the doctor explains that coughing red is a sign he is getting better, but he doesn't look in good condition. While they fight like cats and dogs, he gets annoyed by the noise. Now that he thinks about it, the villain will get the virgin ginseng very soon. And while they continue fighting like cats and dogs, the realization hits him like a truck. He only has 6 months left to get the virgin ginseng before the villain. Yoo Hyun huffs and puffs, blood oozing from his nose as his father and the physician quarrel beside him. The physician, called an old fart by Yoo Hyun, angrily retorts, calling him a rude brat. Suddenly, Yoo Sung-hwan, seen as a dog by Yoo Hyun, jumps on his belly, calling him his dear son. Hyun stares at Yoo Sung-hwan, realizing the old fart is the father of the body's owner he possesses. He gives a revolted look as Yoo Sung-hwan curls up in his large stomach. Yoo Sung-hwan crushes Hyun in a hug, grabbing his belly fat, and looks worried as more blood oozes from Hyun's nose. He angrily questions the physician about why he said Hyun would be fine and why his face turned red. Hyun, still bleeding, calls out for his father. Yoo Sung-hwan responds to his son's call. Hyun struggles into a sitting position, surprising his father with a request to go on a stroll. However, Yoo Sung-hwan heeds his son's request and orders to fetch a 4-man sedan chair. After a moment, 4 huge muscly guys walk into the room, holding the sedan chair as requested. Hyun, his father, and the physician all stare at the incoming party. Seeing the chair, Hyun says he wants to walk with his own legs, not be carried around. Then Hwang Chong is summoned, who now is grabbing Hyun by one of his arms, helping him stand up. Yoo Sung-hwan sees his son standing on his own 2 feet and marvels that he is actually walking. He sheds tears of joy, seeing his son walk in front of him for the first time since turning 10 years old. Aided by Hwang Chong's help, Hyun starts taking steps forward. The palace's subjects all watch in awe, impressed by Hyun walking. Only Hwang Chong looks pissed, having to carry Hyun's weight on his shoulders. Seeing everyone impressed just because he walked, Hyun doesn't look happy. He claims that if he doesn't regain his martial arts abilities, everyone there will soon perish. Hyun is outside, sweating and out of breath, explaining he's walked like crazy for half a month but hasn't seen any change. The sun shines brightly down upon the city. Tired and hot, Hyun is sitting down in one of the plates of the bean balance. Meanwhile, Hwang Chong is loading a few pigs into the other plates of the same bean balance. Despite loading more than a dozen pigs, the plate Hyun is sitting on is still lower. As Hwang Chong loads more pigs, the string holding the plate up snaps. At this, Hyun rages, saying if it continues like this, everything will end and he won't be able to kill the minion bastard. Suddenly, he pauses and thinks as a thought occurs to him, what would be his real name, as minion is surely just a nickname. He looks lost in his thoughts as he stares ahead of him. No matter how much he tries to think, he is unable to remember the name of the one he is supposed to kill. He reveals that people told him about that bastard's information, but he still doesn't remember his name nor his face. He gives a frustrated look as he realizes he can't remember anything. Hwang Chong, holding a pig, tells Hyun that fat is usually very hard to get rid of. He then suggests they start by cutting off sugar in his diet first and create a menu centered around protein-filled foods. Hyun doesn't respond to Hwang Chong's suggestions, so he asks if Hyun is listening. But Hyun is still lost in his thoughts as he wonders if he lost all his memories when he entered his current body. He recalls the minion will be in Anhui province seeking virgin ginseng, considering finding it first. Then he starts having a daydream about confronting the minion of chaos where he mocks him for being weak. In his daydream, he, who is really powerful, looks down at the minion of chaos telling him to kneel. A smile appears on Hyun's face as he is lost in the sweet daydream, eyes closed. Meanwhile, Hwang Chong stares at Hyun from behind, wondering if he has gone mad. Hyun snaps from his daydream as he decides he will take care of that minion in Anhui province. He is hopeful that once the mission ends, it will be the start of his new life. With all these thoughts, Hyun starts laughing like a maniac, making Hwang Chong look worried. Hyun's laughter only intensifies as Hwang Chong hugs his pig, admitting Hyun has definitely gone crazy. Then he drops the pig and runs away, saying he needs to get the imperial physician to tend to Hyun. Suddenly, Hyun ceases his joy as a thought occurs to him. He realizes success requires addressing his fat body but despairs, feeling even 10 years won't suffice. He considers seeking an alternative solution for his body problem as he spots two figures running toward him. Hwang Chong and the physician are both sprinting towards Hyun at full speed. Hyun, seeing who is approaching him, gives an annoyed look. He reveals Jang Seong became the emperor's physician before 30 and developed his own medical technique at 50. Jang Seong pants as he apologizes for not realizing Hyun's loss of sanity when he requested a walk. Hyun questions Jang Seong if he really is the most capable physician in the Central Plains, who agrees. Then Hyun asks Seong if he can create a medicine to help lose his weight. Hearing this request, Seong asks Hyun if the reason he is walking is to lose weight and Hyun nods. Seong gives a relieved look, realizing Hyun's real intentions for walking. He calms down as he learns Hyun's head is alright and he is sane. Seong mentions a medicine that improves physique with regular consumption, prompting Hyun to ask if 6 months will suffice, hopeful. But Seong says that it will take at least 3 years and that exercises along with medicine will be required. Disappointed by this information, Hyun slaps Seong in anger. However, Seong says there are more methods they can use. Giving a suspicious look, Hyun questions what methods he means. Later that day, Hyun, along with others, is standing in front of a huge waterfall. Hyun looks pleased as he says he came up with the idea of using the water's buoyancy. He then announces that he will come there every day to train, causing his subjects who carried him all the way there to despair. All of them look worried, realizing they will need to carry Hyun every day now. Then Hyun dips his feet into the water and walks forward, thinking he needs his whole body to submerge. Half of his body is now submerged as he moves further, realizing it's easier to walk there compared to land. He still moves ahead until he reaches a deep section with nothing to stand on. Suddenly, his whole body gets submerged in the water, causing him to groan in alarm. On the stream bank, Hwang Chong sees Hyun vanish underwater, predicting Hyun won't enjoy water much after that. Meanwhile, Hyun, stuck deep inside the water, struggles to breathe as he thinks he will die now. The water's surface ripples with Hyun trapped inside, drowning. Hwang Chong, initially impressed, stands on the bank of the lake, thinking Hyun is diving on purpose. More ripples appear on the water. A servant approaches Hwang Chong, suggesting Hyun might have fallen into the deep part of the water and unable to swim out. Hwang Chong ponders this, staring into the water. Suddenly, he realizes Hyun is drowning, and horror spreads across his face. Without delay, he runs and dives into the water. Deep below, Hyun has fallen to the bottom of the lake. Unable to swim, he looks up helplessly at the surface. The clear water starts turning darker before Hyun's eyes. Hooves of running horses appear as a carriage pulled by 2 horses comes into view. Inside the carriage, an injured woman holds up a baby. Jean Wigang's shadowy form stares into the carriage. The driver pulls on the reins to make the horses go faster. The woman holds a fat baby on her arms, who wails. The baby continues to cry as the woman looks at him with worry. Jean Wigang witnesses this, giving a pained look, clutching his head. He realizes he is witnessing Hyun's earlier memories from childhood. He thinks Hyun was prettier as a child. It dawns on Jin Wigang that the woman holding the baby must be Hyun's mother. Covered in blood, the woman starts weeping, holding the baby closer and urging him to survive. Jin Wigang, emotional, watches the scene. He turns away, wondering where Hwang Chong is and why he hasn't rescued Hyun from drowning. Heavy tears fall onto the baby, who gives a small smile, while his mother looks down and cries. She dies holding the baby as Jin Wigang shouts no. Back to the present, Jin Wigang, now in Hyun's body, drifts unconscious in the water. Suddenly, someone jumps in. Outside, Hwang Chong weeps, unable to swim to save Hyun. A ripple disturbs the water's surface, and a woman emerges, holding Hyun. Hwang Chong stares in amazement. The woman drags Hyun out of the water onto the bank. She pulls Hyun onto land. Hwang Chong asks where the young miss is and why she's alone. The woman explains that young Miss Junggi asked her to go ahead and tells Hwang Chong to save Hyun first. Hwang Chong bellows he will save the young master Hyun. Back at the palace, Hwang Chong and physician Jang Seung kneel, carrying guilty expressions. Hyun's father, enraged, demands excuses. Hwang Chong blames Jang Seung, saying he suggested Hyun swim. Feeling betrayed, Jin Wigang stares, claiming they're supposed to be best buds. Hwang Chong denies being best buds and repeats that Jang Seung suggested swimming. Hyun's father, the patriarch, turns to Jin Wigang for an explanation. Rage overtakes him, pulling out a sword as Jin Wigang sweats with fear. Jin Wigang awkwardly suggests taking a rational approach. The patriarch raises his sword, shouting how dare Jin Wigang put his son in danger. Suddenly a woman enters the hall, announcing her arrival. The emperor notices Jin Wigang has fainted. The woman addresses Jin Wigang as the physician who looked after Hyun for 10 years and tells him to explain. Jin Wigang stands up and blames the Namgung clan for Hyun's state, revealing Hyun's rejection for marriage and desire to lose weight. The emperor, saddened, admits his focus on anger over his son's feelings. Yoo Junggi speaks up, suggesting they allow Hyun to swim elsewhere. She emphasizes there are other places besides the stream for swimming. She is Yoo Hyun's older sister, Yoo Junggi. Meanwhile, Hyun is lying on his back on his bed. He looks disappointed in himself for needing to be saved from drowning in the stream. He feels sad for the body's owner growing up without a mother after seeing the flashback. Hyun realizes his father's behavior stems from nearly losing him like his wife. He believes his father raised him obsessively, fearing he might disappear too. Pissed off at the body's owner for living carelessly, Hyun looks at his fat hands. At that moment, his sister and the woman who saved him enter, inviting Hyun out. Hyun sits up, asking the woman who she is before realizing she's the guy's sister. He acknowledges her beauty and wonders if she's really the fat guy's sister. The other lady offers help to help him stand up. Hyun doubts she can carry him, but she effortlessly lifts him off his bed. She smirks, claiming she's stronger than Hwang Chong. Later, servants carry Hyun, all looking happy. They announce the young master of the Yoo clan is passing by as they walk along the road. Suspecting the servant's unusual happiness despite carrying him, Hyun shows his suspicions. He then notices something ahead, giving a shocked expression as he asks what it is. Hyun's expression turns shocked as he sees something ahead, questioning what it is. He observes workers moving rocks and digging a giant hole. Hwang Chong stands with crossed arms, overseeing the busy workers. Workers pass huge stones, apparently building something. Hyun exits his carriage and asks the workers what they are doing. Seeing the large hole, he wonders if they are building a grave. Hyun's sister arrives on horseback, informing him he won't need to go to the stream to swim anymore. Confused, Hyun hears the workers shout water. They start pouring water into the hole they created. Hyun realizes they are making a swimming pool and shouts out. A new swimming pool is being created for Hyun. Suddenly the workers notice Hyun and swarm around him, offering congratulations for his progress in walking. Hyun awkwardly thanks the crowd, wondering why they are laughing. He suspects they are being exploited by the patriarch and wonders why they aren't hostile towards him. He believes his father may have bribed or brainwashed them. Hwang Chong rushes in, calling for Hyun, and stops upon seeing the lady. He informs that the work will be completed in half a day. Glancing at the lady, Hyun asks what his father does. Hwang Chong says he will answer, explaining his father is the patriarch, a great scholar and symbol of integrity. Hyun finds this description inconsistent with his father's behavior. Hwang Chong adds that Hyun's father opens the Yoo clan's warehouse to share food and clothes during famine. He says the people there are admirers of his father's works. Hearing this, Hyun finds his father a lot more impressive than he imagined. Suddenly, a thought dawns on him about his father's wealth and being his only son. He becomes speechless speechless and then claps his hands. He questions Hwang Chung if he means he won't have to do any work to live a great life. However, Hwang Chung and others look puzzled hearing such questions from Hyun but still give a playful laugh. The swimming pool is finally finished. A thing that looks like an incense is burning somewhere. Hyun is currently in the swimming pool, enjoying the water. Hwang Chung is standing outside the swimming pool, the incense-like thing in front as Hyun calls out to him and asks where's the thing he asked for. At Hyun's request, Hwang Chung grabs onto a huge boulder tied to a chain and lifts it up, struggling. Hyun walks out of the pool. As Hwang Chung ties the chain around Hyun's leg, he is hopeful he will be able to live a respected life if no chaos occurs. After fixing the chain around Hyun's leg, Hwang Chung lifts the heavy boulder. He then flings the boulder into the swimming pool. The boulder pulls Hyun along as it falls into the pool. Hwang Chung looks down as Hyun, along with the boulder, both splash into the pool. The boulder plunges to the bed of the pool, hitting the floor. Meanwhile, Hyun, still tied to the boulder, is standing at the floor of the swimming pool. He stares ahead and claims that a person's circulatory system is fully open when they are born but closes up as they age, so it's important to train while still young. He believes that for a body that has never been trained before, it will take 100 years to get it into shape. He disagrees that with his body, he will never get the internal energy even after 1,000 years. However, he reveals that his master prepared an internal training energy method for a situation like he is in. He sits down and begins channeling energy from shadowy figures surrounding him. He names the technique the Spirit Energy Heart Cultivation Technique. Continuing his meditation, a glow forms around him from the energy. He directs the energy flow to his heart and blood vessels instead of the energy core and veins, a key point of the technique. According to him, this is crucial for the Spirit Energy Mind Cultivation Technique. After a moment, a bright golden glow begins to appear. A circular glow is visible behind Hyun's back, near his heart. Suddenly, Hyun opens his eyes, both shining. The golden glow is so strong that it's visible from the pool's surface. Hyun's heart also glows, emitting a golden light. After a moment, Hyun smiles, stating it's done and that the spirit energy has begun filling his heart. He closes his eyes again, raising his hand, claiming he can feel the water's flow. The surface of the pool outside is calm. Hyun swirls the water around with his hands, displaying satisfaction and readiness for another attempt. As he takes a step, his chain foot glows. He executes the Shaolin's fist technique, asserting its ability to crush boulders over 100 feet away. Using the 100-foot mystic fist, he throws a punch, emitting a blue-white glow and powerful force. Suddenly, the peaceful pool's surface becomes turbulent, swirling up like a tsunami occurred. Hyun continues his training, with the 8 immortals behind him, all appearing drunk as they perform the 8 drunken immortal step. Attempting the sword with infinite variations technique, Hyun wields his arms like swords. He executes the Namgung clan's heavenly sword, moving his hands quickly in a series of motions. Outside the pool, Hwang Chung yawns, surprised by Hyun's ability to stay underwater for such a long time. He had expected Hyun to give up after 3 days, but to his surprise, Hyun has persisted with the training for a month. Initially thinking Hyun was out of his mind when he asked to tie the metal ball around his legs, Hwang Chung now watches uncertainly. Hyun emerges from the water with a wide grin, asking Hwang Chung to prepare something. Following Hyun's orders, Hwang Chung readies the beam balance once again and loads many pigs onto one side. Hyun stands before the other side of the beam balance. He mentions training like a madman for a month with a body not fixable even by Hwatua. As Hyun prepares to check his weight, Hwang Chung looks uncertain. Hyun states that if he can't shed all his fat, he will have no hope. Stepping onto the plate of the beam balance, with many pigs already loaded on the other side, Hyun awaits the outcome. Hwang Chung sweats in anticipation. The huge pointy arrow on the meter swings out of balance as Hyun fully steps onto the beam balance. The arrow slows down, shaking. Hyun hopes the arrow will not point to his side. However, the arrow stops at the middle, indicating Hyun and the pigs are equal in weight. Pleased, Hyun claims he's lost weight. Hwang Chung shouts in joy. Both of them hug each other in happiness. Hyun sheds tears of joy and thanks Hwang Chung for being by his side, making it all possible. Realizing he's hugging Hwang Chung too tightly, Hyun apologizes, but Hwang Chung assures him it's okay and expresses his happiness for him. Hwang Chung mentions Nam Samdek won't have to sew up ripped clothes every day anymore. Holding up a pig, he adds that the sedan chair porters won't have to worry about their back pain anymore. In a whisper, Hwang Chung tells Hyun about rumors of him being adopted because of his weight. He continues with another rumor suggesting Hyun got rejected for marriage because of his weight, causing Hyun to shout for him to stop. Intimidated by Hyun's warning, Hwang Chung sweats and mentions that the patriarch asked him to do something before fleeing. Hyun sits down, panting, acknowledging his progress but claiming it's still not enough. Reflecting on internal energy and spirit energy, he hopes to obtain the mystical herb which the minion bastard possesses. He recalls that the mystical herb will be discovered behind Huangshan in 6 months. Hyun remarks on the tight timeline. Before the 6 months elapse, he wants to replenish his spirit energy, and suddenly, a hand brings a bowl of soup near his face. The physician offers it, suggesting Hyun might be in shock from training ceaselessly. Hyun swiftly drains the bowl, thanking the physician. The physician watches, amazed, as Hyun burps after finishing the food. Later, Hyun is inside his room meditating. He decides to absorb the spirit energy before it's digested. Opening his mouth, he begins to suck in the energy. The spirit energy, though faint, gradually gathers bit by bit. Suddenly, Hyun opens his glowing eyes and gives a cunning look, declaring he's ready to meet the minion bastard. For the next 2 months, he continues his routine of training with Hwang Chong. Currently, Hyun is inside his swimming pool, standing on the bottom. He looks concentrated as he flexes his hand and pushes his palm ahead of him. Outside, the pool's water gets pushed with such force it forms a huge wave and splashes out. Hwang Chong, nearby, wonders if it could be due to the palm technique. Shaking his head, he dismisses the idea, insisting that someone like Hyun, a haughty pig, couldn't possibly execute such a technique. At that moment, someone walks behind him and asks him who he is talking about. It's Hyun's father, who questions Hwang Chong about the haughty pig. He urges Hwang Chong to speak up as he reaches for his swords. The chief administrator of the patriarch commands the other 2 guards to drag Hwang Chong away from there. Hwang Chong looks like he passed out from fear as the guards grab him by his shoulders. The chief orders Hwang Chong to rest in storage for his hard work, and Hwang Chong tearfully thanks him for saving him. As Hwang Chong is taken away, the patriarch asks the chief if he also saw the event from earlier. Looking delighted, the patriarch says his son just used martial arts and sent water splashing with his palm technique. He says that if his son wants to learn martial arts, he'll allow it. Saying this, he orders the chief to fetch him paper, a brush, and some ink right away as he plans to send a letter to the imperial palace. In the hall, Hyun stands before the patriarch and the chief administrator. Hyun accepts the Divine Heaven manual offered by his father. Holding up the manual, he questions what it is. The patriarch explains it's a secret martial arts manual given by the imperial palace emperor. Realizing the emperor's influence, Hyun is impressed. The patriarch smiles, saying he told the emperor about Hyun's interest, so the emperor sent the manual. It's all bluffs. The patriarch had actually begged the emperor daily before getting the manual. The patriarch gives a nervous laugh as the chief administrator sighs. Knowing the truth, the patriarch clears his throat and informs Hyun of his new martial arts master. Outside in the grounds, Hyun stands silently before his new martial arts teacher. The patriarch assures Hyun not to worry, saying his brother-in-law, the teacher, is quite capable. Dam Chunwoo introduces himself as Yoo Junggi's husband. The patriarch says Dam Chunwoo is from a top martial clan, but Hyun believes he's better than his instructor. Hyun stands before them, pondering whether he should reveal his secrets to both of them. He wonders if he should reveal his secrets but decides against it. But he decides against revealing the truth to avoid angering the patriarch and realizes he can't showcase his true abilities there. He decides to focus on building up his internal energy. In case people question him in the future, he decides to claim that he learned the technique from Dam Chunwoo. And if people inquire about his martial arts, he resolves to tell them it's from the Divine Heaven manual. Then bowing, he announces himself as Dam Chunwoo's disciple. The patriarch is touched by his son, Hyun's politeness. The training session for Hyun begins as Dam Chunwoo shouts at him, insisting that isn't how to do it. Hyun respectfully bows, ready to try again at his teacher's instruction. So Hyun lifts one of his legs, extends his arms, and bows down his head. Dam Chunwoo, looking irritated, shouts at Hyun about how he is not able to do such a simple movement. He tells Hyun to do it again, while Hyun claims he has been going too easy on his teacher. Hyun bows more, calling Dam Chunwoo brother-in-law, but Dam Chunwoo barks at him to address him as master. Hyun addresses Dam Chunwoo as master and suggests moving on, stressing the need to learn other essential moves. Dam Chunwoo scolds Hyun, insisting he needs a strong foundation before mastering the technique. He adds insult to injury, claiming Hyun will not learn anything when he is that dense. Insulted, Hyun clenches his fist in anger, feeling he's been playing along and going too easy on Dam Chunwoo. Dam Chunwoo explains to Hyun that despite his doubts about the 6 combination technique, it embodies the laws of the universe. However, Hyun, who has had enough, challenges Dam Chunwoo to a fight, startling him. Hyun says that he wants to spar with Dam Chunwoo and suggests they use the 6 combination technique to fight. He says he wants to see who is stronger between the two of them, both who have different techniques. Damn Chunwoo stares in amazement at such a request, speechless. Then he mocks Hyun with the words oh ho ho. He questions Hyun if he really wants to spar with him. Meanwhile, Hyun mocks Damn Chunwoo back, asking if he is scared. Pissed off, Damn Chunwoo claims he's now part of the Yoo clan, though he was once with the Hubei 7 dragons. Hyun interrupts, telling him to leave if he can't back up his words, accusing him of just talking. Insulted, Damn Chunwoo angrily shouts at Hyun, calling him a bastard, and agrees to their fight. However, Damn Chunwoo, realizing his advantage over Hyun, decides to seal his internal energy. He then takes out a long cloth, tying it around his waist, confusing Hyun further. After a moment, Damn Chunwoo ties one of his hands to his body with the long cloth. Hyun smirks, cautioning Damn Chunwoo not to backtrack, as Damn Chunwoo confidently lets Hyun strike first. Hyun initiates the attack with the bird dragon sword technique, conjuring a formidable dragon-like shadow above him. Then he charges directly at Damn Chunwoo. Damn Chunwoo gives a shocked look as Hyun nears him, ready to attack. He swiftly moves his shoulders back, dodging a heavy punch from Hyun. Dodging, Damn Chunwoo marvels at Hyun's flawless technique, realizing he lives up to his name. Meanwhile, after launching the first attack, Hyun feels his body starting to tire out, but he says he doesn't have a choice and decides to end the fight quickly, aiming another attack. Damn Chunwoo, looking concerned, tries to counterattack but is unable to due to his one hand tied. Hyun aims a punch and strikes Damn Chunwoo on the right side of his ribs, saying only the strong should act big. Taking the attack, Damn Chunwoo groans in pain, loses balance, and falls down. He then looks up at Hyun, saying it's unexpected. But Hyun takes the chance and jumps on top of Damn Chunwoo, fist raised for another punch. Hyun looks down at Damn Chunwoo, an evil grin on his face, and tells Damn Chunwoo he is his disciple, addressing him as master. Hwang Chong and another guard stand at either side of the gate, Hwang Chong appearing sleepy. The other guard suggests Hwang Chong take a break, but he insists it's the patriarch's order to stay. Hearing this, the other guard notes that Hwang Chong has been dozing off all day. Someone nearby mocks Hwang Chong for his demotion and asks if he's enjoying it. Hyun appears and questions Hwang Chong if his punishment is too lenient since he's dozing off freely. Awkwardly, Hwang Chong asks Hyun why he's not at training, and Hyun replies the teacher is unfit to teach. Hyun wonders if Damn Chunwoo is woken up by now. Meanwhile, inside, Damn Chunwoo lays on a bed, groaning in pain. His wife, Yoo Jung-gi, asks if Hyun overpowered him with martial arts, and he agrees. With his face covered in bandages, Damn Chunwoo asks his wife to scratch his head, but she rejoices, saying she knew Hyun was a martial arts genius, while Damn Chunwoo begs for her help. Ignoring his pleas, Yoo Jung-gi reassures Damn Chunwoo he'll feel better with rest, then leaves. Alone, Damn Chunwoo laments his wife's abandonment, cursing the entire family. Outside the gate, several horses gallop towards the gate, pulling a carriage behind them. The carriage halts just before the gate. The driver turns to the patriarch, announcing their arrival. Inside the carriage, the patriarch sits with his back against the wall. Another suggests the patriarch's involvement may not have been necessary. The patriarch insists he must attend to the case himself, as Sir Yu requested his presence. He suggests they go to the beggar sect Amping Prefecture branch. A lot of white smoke bellows, covering everything, followed by a yell from someone. Hyun walks the streets alone, wanting to explore before chaos erupts. As he walks around, he sees the busy streets, full of people attending to their own business. He sees shopkeepers selling their goods. He sees little children playing in the streets, all happy and smiling. He sees the smiling faces of the citizens. Hyun finds the scene better than expected, noting he's never seen so much laughter in his previous life. He recalls when the Minion of Chaos appeared and took over his world. After the Minion of Chaos arrived, shadows engulfed peace and laughter, leaving people with no respite, resorting to using corpses to avoid rain. Drenched in winter's chill, he once longed for a new start in a distant land. Now, in a different world, he's destined to save it. Suddenly, the people in the streets all stare at Hyun. Recognized as the young master, they question why he's walking instead of riding in the carriage. They start making loud noises, announcing young master Hyun's presence on the streets, attracting attention. In a moment, everyone surrounds Hyun, all marveling at seeing him walk on his own. A lady brings something to eat and offers it to Hyun, but Hyun doesn't look at the food as he is trying to lose weight. Another woman walks in carrying a cloth and requests Hyun to try it on. More and more people come offering Hyun various gifts. In seconds, Hyun is overloaded with all the gifts he accepted from the crowd. He then shouts for people to stop giving him things, claiming he wants to stroll around. As more people walk in with gifts, he asks them why they are offering him things. Hyun smiles seeing people's approval, but his conscience questions if he desires this attention for the rest of his life. Hyun screams out, refusing the attention, stating he can't enjoy a proper stroll like this. Suddenly, he notices something. As his senses tingle, he turns around and wonders what he just saw now. Still staring at that place, he wonders if he was mistaken. Meanwhile, hidden behind a nearby wall, someone believes Hyun just spotted him. He deems it impossible, as Hyun couldn't even walk properly before, wondering if Hyun sensed his presence. He decides to confirm it while suddenly Hyun appears right behind him. The stranger's eyes widen at seeing Hyun so close to him, and he prepares a punch. Hyun notices the attack and puts both arms before his face to shield the attack. The stranger punches Hyun and sends him flying backwards. Hyun slams into a wall, causing a huge noise that attracts the attention of other people around. Amidst all this, the stranger who attacked Hyun jumps to the roof and runs away. Hyun comes back to his senses, groaning with pain. He opens his eyes and quickly gets up, questioning where the bastard who attacked him went. He bellows with anger, declaring he will kill that bastard. The people around all look shocked at seeing Hyun's rage. Seeing this, Hyun fakes his reaction, saying he is alright while hurting inside. He wipes his face and wonders who the stranger was. He's puzzled why such a strong martial artist would be in the peaceful Amping Prefecture. He thinks that's not important and that Amping Prefecture is just a part of Murim. Realizing he needs to quickly improve his martial arts, he walks away, leaving people in awe of his toughness. As he walks away, he decides to lose weight and gather information. With his basic training nearly done, he realizes if he wants to get information on the virgin ginseng, he will have to visit the beggar's den. Patriarch Yoo Hyun and his daughter Yoo Jung-gi sit facing each other, discussing Hyun's new martial arts skills. Yoo Hyun wants his son to join the government, but Yoo Jung-gi says it's too early. Hyun insists he wants to help his son, but Jung-gi argues sending him away won't help. Arousing suspicions, Jung-gi asks her father if he is acting this way because of the Namgung clan. Jung-gi suggests the Namgung clan may have rejected the marriage proposal due to Hyun but suspects another reason as well. She explains Namgung Hyo may have chosen not to marry, preferring a martial arts lifestyle. Yoo Hyun gives a saddened expression at his daughter's take. Seeing her father's reaction, Yoo Jung-gi questions him if it's not because of the Namgung clan. Yoo Jung-gi realizes her father is still upset over his wife's death and reassures him he isn't to blame. But Yoo Hyun says the killers were after him, not his wife. Tears fill his eyes, and he mutters that he should have died instead of his wife. A carriage pulled by a few horses gallops along the streets outside. Two men inside discuss the possibility of receiving the marriage proposal again, citing Hyun's laziness and weight. One says Hyun's poor personality would lead to rejection, while the other confirms they are there for that reason. Then one of them raises his hand and points outside. The carriage arrives near a city, and one says knowing the enemy and yourself will ensure your victory. Namgung Hansu, the Namgung clan patriarch, suggests gathering information on Hyun for rejection. Meanwhile far away, Hyun gives a loud sneeze. He wipes his finger and wonders who is talking behind his back. As he looks around, he sees no one and questions why no one is there. Then he goes around the block like a detective, searching for any beggars he can find. Seeing the place so lonely, he wonders why there are no beggars there. At that moment, a man appears behind Hyun, surprised to see him there. Hyun says he is just taking a stroll and asks about the area being beggarless. Hearing such a question, the man asks Hyun if he is kidding. He explains the place has been beggar-free for 20 years since the patriarch provided them with work and housing. Suddenly, Hyun recalls someone explaining about beggars being everywhere and their group called the beggar sect. He yells in frustration upon learning there's no beggar sect branch there as it's free of beggars. The man, hearing Hyun mention the beggar sect, gives an expression like he knows something. A stranger is drinking some tea in a tea shop. The stranger questions the Namgung clan patriarch if he's there just for tea. His name, Yoo Hyun, beggar sect branch leader, asks the patriarch if he's there to learn about Hyun. He asks the patriarch if he wants facts about Hyun to aid in rejecting the marriage proposal. The patriarch doesn't look impressed as Yoo Hyun says he is sorry. He adds that the information on Hyun is special, requiring permission from the main branch to sell. Looking annoyed, the patriarch asks him if he is haggling with him. Yoo Hyun shakes his head, stating the main branch has classified Hyun's information as heaven grade. The other guy next to the patriarch asks Yoo Hyun why the main branch manages information about Hyun. Yoo Hyun replies that they are talking about the Yoo family. He expresses concern that if the Yoo family patriarch goes on a rampage, their main branch will be in trouble. The patriarch of the Namgung clan gives a concerned look before he slams a small pouch onto the table. The pouch contains shining silver items as he says he is ready to pay any cost needed. But Oh Hyun doesn't take the offer and suggests the patriarch might not have listened to his words. He repeats that his team needs permission from the main branch, as the patriarch's eyes give an angry look. Then the patriarch lifts his hand and pulls the ring from his finger. He offers the ring to Oh Hyun, causing him to gape in shock as it's the emperor's ring, protected by the Namgung clan. The other guy beside the patriarch shouts, questioning how he can use the ring, calling him father. Meanwhile, Hyun is looking up at a grand building. He is shocked to see that the beggar's den is actually such a large building. A guard, seeing Hyun, calls him fatty, threatening him with a sword and ordering him to stop. Hyun gets pissed at being called fatty but decides to hold back his anger. The guard still has his sword pointed at Hyun, who asks him to take it away. Then the guard walks behind Hyun, raises the sword, and strikes Hyun on his shoulders. He then insults Hyun and repeats for him to go away. Hyun stands still as the guard calls him a pig and warns him to go away or face more humiliation. But Hyun says he has already been humiliated and tells the guard he will pay for it. He gives a creepy smile, calling someone over. Two strangers, wearing hats, stand before some guy. The guy asks if the patriarch, Yoo Hyun, has been doing well, referring to him as the old tiger. Patriarch Namgung hands his ring to Oh Hyun. Oh Hyun is shocked by the offer of the emperor's ring, while Namgung's son protests the decision. Oh Hyun realizes the ring means he'll be under Namgung clan protection and wonders why Namgung offers it. Namgung tells Oh Hyun he'll offer more once he shares Hyun's information. Greedy for the offer, Oh Hyun agrees to share the information. After a moment, Oh Hyun hands over a file containing all of Hyun's life info. With a smirk, Oh Hyun warns Namgung not to reveal he gave him the file. Namgung promises not to disclose the source of the file. Oh Hyun laughs and tells Namgung to enjoy reading as he leaves to write the letter to the main branch. Namgung sits there and opens the pages of the file, but a loud noise nearby disturbs Namgung, who complains about it. His son offers to check the source of the noise. Namgung's son looks down from the window and sees Hyun quarreling with the guard. The guard has a sore eye from Hyun's punch and admits underestimating him. He praises Hyun for dodging the infinite heaven sword. Hyun mocks the guard, claiming his infinite heaven sword technique was lame. Angered, the guard scolds Hyun for disrespecting his clan's martial arts. Hyun clarifies to the guard that he was criticizing him, not the infinite heaven sword, stating he's lousy at using it. The guard becomes speechless with anger. Hyun tells the guard swinging the sword won't cut it, recognizing him as a Namgung member, and demands an apology. The insult enrages the guard. He swings his sword at Hyun, shouting in fury. The guard stops his sword close to Hyun's neck, calling him fatty, and warns him with no more warnings. But despite the sword at his neck, Hyun stands still without a word. Then Hyun reminds the guard he drew his sword first. Saying this, he charges up a punch and strikes the guard in his stomach. Quickly, he grabs onto his hair, telling him he should have stepped aside when told to. He lands another punch at the guard, causing him to spit blood. Hyun raises his leg and strikes it once again at the guard, smashing him into the ground. He grabs the guard's collar, lifting him and asserting that the Namgung clan lacks manners, and he'll teach him instead. Then he gives a big smile, telling the guard to be thankful for his teaching, and he punches the guard straight in the face, followed by a series of more punches. At that moment, someone shouts at Hyun to stop. Hyun looks up and notices someone jumping down. The new arrival lands forcefully, and Hyun jumps back swiftly to avoid the shockwave. Namgung's son looks at Hyun, telling him not to run. Hyun gives a worried look. As Namgung's son aims a punch at Hyun, Hyun thinks the feeling is familiar. Namgung's son uses the exploding lightning mystic fist technique, and Hyun, seeing it, says he needs to deal with it fast. Hyun thinks the technique is too much for his current body to handle head-on. Then he prepares a technique while Namgung's son's punch nears him. He uses a martial arts technique to rotate the energy within his fist to increase its explosive power, and he blocks Namgung's son's fist with both hands. He decides to swirl the rotation in the opposite direction to offset the momentum. Namgung's son struggles to maintain momentum in his punch,